welcome to Meet the Candidate 2022. We're recording at the Dry Fly Distillery, and I'm sitting down this afternoon with Jenny Graham, running for State Representative in the 6th Legislative District. And welcome, Jenny.
Why, thank you, Lani. It's a pleasure to be here today.
Good. Well, this is the Get Acquainted interview, not the political one. I know that you are currently serving in the position, but this is an opportunity to introduce yourself to new voters and tell a little bit about your background and where you grew up.
Well, I am State Representative Jenny Graham for the mighty 6th District. I am running for my 3rd term, and it's been a learning curve, but it's absolutely been a pleasure to be able to take the things that are unique to me and use those in a way that absolutely have benefited the people in the 6th District and in the state. When it comes to focusing on safe and clean neighborhoods.
Right, because I know that a part of your story was growing up in Tacoma. Did I get that straight?
Well, Federal Way, Auburn.
Federal Way.
We did go to Tacoma here and there too.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, tell us a little bit about that story.
So I grew up in Federal Way, Auburn, Washington. Going to Washington State Public Schools. I'm very proud of that fact, and I'm also proud that my children also have gone to Washington State Public Schools where I volunteered. So Washington's been a great place to grow up. My husband, we actually ended up moving over here to Spokane for my husband's job. And, we've been here well over 20 years, raised our family, still living in the same house. And we just love Spokane. I want to see Spokane be the same great place that it was for us raising our family. And, there have been some changes, especially with public safety concerns. So those are things that, whether it's really taking on issues for our schools to be safe, that's another super important issue to me. School was always a place that was safe for me, that I loved to be able to go, where I was allowed to be a kid and learn and grow as a person. So safe, a safe learning environment for our kids is important.
So in growing up in the West Side, and you finished high school over there, and then what did you do after high school?
I actually wasn't quite out of high school yet. I went actually into the trades to get my cosmetology esthetician license. So I was taking my boards, and I'd already signed up for the U.S. Army. So I took those boards, I walked in with that book up to my face, studying. And I aced that test, the written and the practical. And not too soon after that, I left for Fort Jackson, South Carolina, basic training. And, it was definitely, I had never been on a plane, never been away from home. So many new things going into a whole new environment. And I will never, ever forget the look of the drill sergeant when I stepped off the bus. He looked at me like, what did they send me now? And I thought to myself, you know what? You don't know me. And I will tell you what, by the time I got out of basic training, I was, would get down and do push-ups, running, whatever, because you used to get punished by exercise for stuff. Well, I aced that. And not only that, I had the skills to cut hair. So somebody needed a haircut. There I was. So I have great experience with basic training, and I have no regrets at all.
How long did you serve?
6 years. It was Army Reserves, and Fort Lawton in Seattle was where I was stationed. So, all of the things that I learned as a young person in the military that, helped to shape me, because I challenged Jenny, to really push myself, to see what I could do, what I was capable of, what I struggled with. And I came out of the military a better person. So, and that is something that I'm also proud, a proud mother of my oldest son, who is in the Air Force. He's an Air Force airman stationed in Florida right now. And it just is, it's funny because between my kids' friends going to basic training or my own children talking about it, it was me that they came to talk about basic training, not my husband. So, and I was going to also say that I am a veteran for, you know, in the, as far as being in the reserves, Army Reserves. And today is the 247th birthday of the Army. So how very exciting to be able to celebrate that anniversary, that birthday anniversary, and, you know, to say thank you to my fellow sisters and brothers in arms that work hard every day to protect us and to make it possible for us to live and work and play and raise our families in peace and safety.
So what inspired you to first run for the state legislature? What drew you into politics?
I did not seek out politics. Politics found me. And it came about naturally. After my sister was murdered by the Green River Killer, it took me a little while to pick up the pieces of my life because that's obviously something very traumatic. And I also had a brother that committed suicide, same time frame. So that was really rough. And that happened right before I left for basic training. So, you know, when I did finally start to put pieces together, they caught the Green River Killer. And I made a cold call one day to ask if I could look at the records. It took 20 years to catch him, and they caught him. He was arrested. The case, you know, went through the court system, and I wanted to know what happened. And I asked if I could look through her files. And when I did, there were like 6 big black files. They took me to a room, and it was just full from top to bottom of these black files for the crime victims and the investigation. So I was able to look through those files, and it didn't dawn on me until I was looking through those files, because I wasn't able to with a death investigation.
Right.
I didn't realize that other people knew about the abuse that we had lived with, which is a huge part
in your childhood home.
Yeah, right. Which is why my sister and brother were gone to begin with, and neither one of them survived. So when I was looking through there, I recognized that there's police records, school records, eyewitnesses that I didn't know anything about. And, you know, I was asking the question, why didn't somebody do something? Because they knew. And why didn't somebody help us? So, you know, I kind of kept asking that question, why didn't somebody do something? And I know the answer to that question now, because it was really hard. I going through that whole process, recognized that with child sexual assault, there was a really unfair statute of limitations that said a child had to report within a year, and it didn't matter why they didn't report. Didn't matter if their life was threatened, if they weren't in a safe place, if they didn't have support. And I just thought that was very unfair. It was an unfair hand in our justice system for young people. And I just thought, no, this is not right. We need to do something, because the people that are preying on children shouldn't be protected by an unfair timeline. Because I had more evidence in my old case than a lot of the newer cases had. But because the statute of limitations had passed, they walk free. And for most of us who are crime victim survivors, I'm not interested in money. Money doesn't fix what happened. What mattered to me was this person is going to hurt somebody else. And that's so many of us, that's what we're trying to do, is we're trying to protect other people. And so I set out on that quest. It was really against every odd. It was pretty much carved in stone that law wasn't going to change, and I would not accept that. So I worked 18 out of 24 hours for 2 years of my life and reinvented the wheel to figure out a way to get make it happen. I had to go over it, under it, around it, or right through it. But I wasn't going to give up. I'm very tenacious that way. I believed that what I was doing was right. And, we prevailed. My goal was never to put people in jail. It was to say, if you're going to go after a child, there's going to be a consequence, and you're not going to hide behind an unfair time limit. So we were able to change that law, and it wasn't retroactive, so it wouldn't have done anything for us. But there were so many of us that were involved, and it was never about us. It was about trying to protect the next generation as adults now. And so I found a real unique way to tackle that, and we were able to change the law. So, and then I moved on, spent the next couple of years working very hard to meet with Mr. Ridgway, who killed my sister, because I had questions that nobody had asked, and I needed answers to those. So that's a whole nother story. That, again, every odd against me for that to happen, and yet it did. It happened, and I'm a better person for it. So,
but that's what got you really enmeshed then in looking at the law and at the legislative duties and powers. And
right. Well, because that was my bill. My name might not have been on it as the prime sponsor of the bill because I wasn't elected. But that bill came about when I was out working on my motorhome one day, and John Ahern came by doorbelling. And I started asking him about how he felt about child sexual assault. And from there, we started on that legislation. And it dawned on me at that time that whether it was law enforcement, prosecutors, or other people that were involved, everybody was just kind of doing their own thing. And nobody was really communicating about this. So I worked with Sheriff Ozzie, to really kind of put together a game plan for trying to take that issue on, because we need people to communicate on these issues for the best outcome. And I was very happy that he supported me with a letter of support to change the law. I used that. I worked with prosecutors, not only to change the child sexual assault statutes of limitations, but also for child pornography. There was a similar unfair statute of limitations. So we were able to eliminate that statute of limitations. However, they have to commence prosecution within a year of knowing who it is. And I honestly thought that was fair. So, I fell into this by accident and, thought that I had done what I was gonna do. And really, I think that I started to watch things continue to go in a direction that I didn't agree with for the safety of my family and friends that I cared about. And so I thought, no, I have a specific set of skills and life experience that makes me a really good fit for this. And I've already been through trial by fire. So I stepped up to run out of nowhere. And again, every odd against me, they outspent me, but they absolutely did not outwork me, and they won't.
Well, and that's a good place to give you that 1-minute wrap up to specifically answer the question to voters. Why should we vote for Jenny Graham for State Representative for the 6th Legislative District?
Well, first of all, I want to thank the people that have supported me, have continued to make phone calls, send emails. Thank you for being a part of that team. I asked you to trust me, and you did. And because of that, I have kept my promises. I've kept my promises to work to keep your neighborhood safe and clean. It hasn't been easy. I didn't give up. I won't give up. And I've also worked to keep your money in your wallet to allow you to spend that locally where you choose to help your family, your business, and better our community.
Okay. Thank you for joining me today, Jenny.
All right.
Candidate
Thank you.
for State Legislature, 6th Legislative District.
Thank you.
From Chud Sr. to Dick Wendell, to Kristen and myself.
And now to our kids.
Our goal is to help people drive for generations.
From roll-up windows to power everything. From stick to automatic. From gas to electric.
No one can totally predict what technology is coming our way.
But I can guarantee we will be here before and after the sale, giving you the confidence for generations to come.
That's the Wendell way. Drive for generations.
Hey voters, join me, Kirk Cameron, on Saturday, September 24th with We Believe, We Vote at the Spokane Convention Center for a night of celebrating biblical citizenship.
Join We Believe We Vote for our annual fundraiser on Saturday, September 24th, 2022 with Kirk Cameron. For tickets and event information, please visit WeBelieveWeVote.com. That's WeBelieveWeVote.com. We'll see you there.
Weather in the inland Northwest can wear you down. And if your gutters are in poor condition or you do not have gutters, you could suffer damage that could cost a fortune to fix. Rainman Seamless Rain Gutters has almost 30 years of professional experience in serving the inland Northwest region and strives to ensure customer service that is second to none from the time you call to the end of the project.